Today on the Star Wars Show, Andy and Anthony check out some of George Lucas's rarely seen celebration moments. We relive Lucasfilm Animation's greatest celebration debuts, and much, much more. Now, from the safety of their own homes, here's Andy Gutierrez and Anthony Carponi.
Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Show, Star Wars Celebration.
That's right, and because we can't all physically be there in person to celebrate Star Wars Celebration this year, we decided to blast open the Lucasfilm vaults and show you a few of our favorite moments from the last 20 years of Star Wars Celebration that before today, you could have only seen if you were there in person.
That's right, some of this footage has never been officially posted online before. Some of these stories and moments have only lived in the memories of the attendees, described as ancient internet lore on websites with looping GIFs of stick figures using construction equipment, or as janky bootleg video, but that all changes today.
Now, the two of us first met at Star Wars Celebration 2015 in Anaheim when we broadcast the event for the first time live.
Yeah, we did. And those live streams from Anaheim, London, Orlando, and Chicago were full of memorable moments in and of themselves.
There were trailer reveals, the cast reunions, and we even had our fair share of great moments on our own stage.
Exactly, and while those were all great, mostly the ones involving Oki the vegetable carver, all of them are available online to watch whenever you want. For today's episode, we're going old school, like pre-HD video old school.
So let's get started and swing open the metaphorical vault with this ancient gem all the way back from 2005.
2005, the year of the third ever Star Wars Celebration in Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, this was the year that the maker himself, George Lucas, took to the stage for the very first time to talk about Star Wars, its future, and a little movie he was promoting called Revenge of the Sith.
Which is why we are amped for the first time since 2005 to show you what it was like to be in that room on that fateful day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. George Lucas.
I'm very grateful for you all, and I'm very surprised. I've known over the years, Star Wars is something to enjoy and to take away what you can from it that maybe helps you in your lives, but don't let it take over your lives. That's what they all say about Trekkies, and I know Star Wars fans don't do that, but the point of the movie is to get on with your lives, to take that challenge, to leave your uncle's moisture farm, to go out into the world and change it and save the universe.
I'm wondering why you did the episodes in 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3.
Well, originally it was meant to be one movie. And I wanted to start in the middle. It was going to be a Saturday matinee serial. You never saw the first 3 episodes. You never saw what happened afterwards. And it was purely episode 4. I wanted to start in the middle. I didn't want to deal with, all the backstory and stuff. And then when I finished those 3, Return of the Jedi, I didn't think I was going to go back and make any more movies. I just figured that was it. And then later on, when the technology came along and I could see what I was doing in terms of, I was stuck being George Star Wars Lucas, and I kind of came to grips with that. I said, well, maybe I'll go back and do the backstory. And I was insisting that we tell the story. I know a lot of fans wanted to see Darth Vader going around killing people in the first episode. But I said, no, it's a story about a 10-year-old boy, and everybody said, ooh, that's going to destroy everything. I see more American graffiti coming down the road here. And so I'm very happy that I'm finally finished and that you can see them all in one piece, because now I think it'll all be a different movie for you.
My dads keep telling me that the stormtroopers are the good guys. Are they really?
The stormtroopers are the good guys. It's just that they take orders from a very bad man.
How many fans would like to see a Star Wars TV series?
Well, we've been talking about Star Wars TV series. We're working on one right now, which is Clone Wars, which has been on the air, and we're going to try to expand that into a half an hour of 3D animation.
If there was a Star Wars character that you wanted to play, who would that be and why?
I would be R2-D2.
And why would that be?
Well, because he gets to have all the fun, and he's the character that's got the biggest sense of humor. R2-D2 is the hero. He is the one that gets them out of the mess. Every time they get into a mess, R2-D2 is the one that gets them out of it. And he doesn't need any special powers. He's already the most powerful person on the screen there.
What color would your lightsaber be?
I have two lightsabers. I have a red one and a blue one. And, you know, it's, I'm like Grievous. I sort of collect them, and then depending on how I feel that morning, I pick the one I need.
If you could bring only 3 CDs with you to a desert island to listen to, what would you bring to listen to?
Well, I'd probably bring Dvorak, the Beatles, and
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah.
In the Star Wars movies, when a Jedi dies, sometimes they fade away, and others they just lie there dead.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I would like to know, what do you think will happen when you die?
I'm not sure, but I have a feeling I'm just going to lay there dead. But it takes a great deal of study, you know, on the contemplation and study, and you have to know certain people on the other side in order to make that part happen.
I mean, personally for you, what are you really going to take away from this? Like, what's the most important thing that you're just going to hold like near and dear to your heart?
This is 20 years of my life of solid work over 30 years. The most important part and the most gratifying part at this point is I actually got it finished. Because when you're, especially, you start something and you have a set of characters, you have a set of actors, you have a set of circumstances, you have a certain amount of money and everything, you hope you can get to the end. And this was 2 10-year stretches, so that everything sort of had to stay in place for 10 years. But it's been a rather rewarding experience. I'm glad that I finished what I set out to do, but I'm also amazed that it's had such an effect on so many people around the world. It's been very gratifying.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you'd like to put your hands together for the Jedi Master himself.
Now that was awesome.
Right? I love that he just casually drops, in typical George Lucas style, that they're working on a 3D animated series about the Clone Wars. Just no big deal, just something we're working on.
Anyway, while George Lucas may have let the world know that the Clone Wars is in development, Star Wars fans got their first look at it 2 years later at Star Wars Celebration 4 in Los Angeles. Which,
Coincidentally, was also the first time Dave Filoni took to the Celebration stage, and wouldn't you know it, we've got that footage too.
Roll it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Supervising Director on the Clone Wars, Dave Filoni. Give him a big round of applause. Come on, Dave.
So Dave, that was you as Plo Koon?
Yeah. That was part of what made it hard to believe about doing this job and meeting George and everything. It was right before Episode 3 came out, literally about, I'd say, a month and a half. And I was sitting at Nickelodeon working at the time on a series called Avatar with my buddy Giancarlo, and he was joking with me, what would it take to get me off this show? We love it so much, our friends created it. And I said, yeah, well, if George Lucas called me and offered me a job, I'd go do that. Literally. And 2 weeks later, I get this call from this lady, I don't know, Catherine Winder, no offense. And she's like, I'm from Lucasfilm, and we're gonna do a new Clone Wars series. And I was like,
Okay, so you walk in. What was your first meeting with George Lucas like?
Yeah, that was really weird. That was kind of my goal at the time, was just to meet him. So I did get to meet him, and I was in the green room next to his office, and it's an office we've all seen in documentaries or DVD extras. Next thing I know, I'm in there, and my first thought was, wow, there he is. There's the guy, So we move over to a table in his office in the little cupola window area and sit down, and I have my portfolio there, and then you're thinking, wow, this ain't gonna go so well. And he, looks through it like this, literally. Then he puts the book aside and he starts talking about Jedi Knights and his perception of Jedi Knights and how he thinks they are and how they act and what he thinks the differences are in perception. And I mean, you can't pay for something like that. And he's telling me about this, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay. We keep talking about that, and you don't really interject because he's telling you about Star Wars. And I'm like, wow, this is great. I'm gonna go home telling my friends. And then he said, well, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. I shook his hand. He says, nice to meet you. And then I left the room, and I thought, wow, I'm done now. Episode 3's coming out. This will be great. And then she came out and said, he likes you. You have the job.
That just right then and there?
Yeah. And I,
how did you react? What did you do? What did you say? Were you cool, or did you jump around like a little...
Well, my first thought was, well, you don't tell George no. A lot. So I was taking the job, but my wife is from Glendale, California, and she was gonna have to move then, and luckily she was very understanding and gave up a whole lot so I could do this job, so I'm very thankful for her as well. It's funny, it's really changed a lot as we've gone forward. I think that initially, I was told I might see George 3 times over the course of a year, but as we started showing him stuff, he got more and more interested and more excited about what we were doing. One of the early things that happened to Henry Gilroy and I was we sat at a table with George, and he said, okay, I'm going to teach you guys how to make Star Wars now. And that's
no pressure, Dave, no pressure.
But it's good. I mean, it's good. George's involvement is the best thing about it because we all love Star Wars, we all want to make Star Wars, but at the end of the day, when you watch Indiana Jones or Star Wars, you see these movies, there's something about them that's inherently different. And it's really the artist behind making it. I mean, I'm so thankful George did all the prequels, because you get that, really the sense of humor, the sense of fun, the sense of excitement, that all drive from George. He edits in a way that Jason Tucker, my editor, and I have never seen. I mean, he's really good, really sharp. Because I'm not interested in my version of Star Wars. I'm interested in Star Wars as George Lucas makes it. And I think they're all interested in seeing something continue with Star Wars as George Lucas made it, because he is the creator of it. And that is what we're really glad that he is involved like he is, and making sure that we're staying on that path.
So what is it that we're about to see? We've really saved the best for last. What is it we're going to see here?
Well, we had about 2,500 some shots to go through, so Jason and I stayed up all Saturday night and cut a trailer.
Let's take a look.
In this war, a step ahead of us, Dooku always seems.
Here they come! Man down! They're right on top of us.
Where is Skywalker?
They're mine.
Tragic are these losses, but prevent more, we must.
If you've locked the coordinates, R2, let's go.
people ever to get to see this.
Man, what must it have been like to be in that room and watch that trailer then, you know? And while we're talking about trailers that you could have only seen in Celebration, we just posted the Celebration exclusive trailer for the final season of Clone Wars on our YouTube channel today.
Which you should all watch after this show is over, because we have more surprises in store for you.
Precisely. Now, shifting our focus from the Clone Wars and jumping in time a few years to 2010.
By this time, Star Wars Celebration had been going on for over a decade, and it even dipped its toes in international waters with stints in Europe and Japan.
Which is why it was only fitting that upon its return to the States in 2010, George Lucas would once again take the stage in a highly anticipated panel royale with the former host of The Daily Show, Jon Stewart.
Which before today was only available as grainy phone footage that looked like it was shot on a potato.
But all that changes today because we've broken into the Lucasfilm vault once again, smuggling out only the highest quality version of the footage made possible by the cameras and equipment we were able to use the time in order to deliver you, the discerning Star Wars fan, a much clearer look at this legendary panel, the main event.
We're going to have a great time today. We're going to interview a gentleman that I don't know if many of you are familiar with, but who is really the reason why all of you aren't at a Star Trek convention right now. Thank you so much for joining us here. Star Wars Celebration 5, this is the main event.
It's just like your show, only a smaller audience.
Yes, well, just like my show, only popular. Well, it's very kind of you, one person. How do you stay positive when everything is sort of turning against you?
Well, it helps me nuts.
Yeah. It helps to be nuts.
But, you know,
I think we've just written the title to your autobiography. It helps to be nuts.
You have to have just such persistence, be so stubborn, and just say, I'm right, I don't care what the rest of the world thinks.
So we know pretty much where everybody's from, except for Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah, where's he from? What's his home planet?
You know,
don't make it up. Don't just throw something out there. That was you gotta say where he's actually from.
I wouldn't do that. This is something that was one of the first things that I wrote in the very first script.
Really?
Yeah. And he comes from the planet Stewart.
That's all I'm gonna do.
There's somebody here who can help us with that.
Oh, all right.
Who knows more about that scene than I
scene?
do, because it's been a long time and I can't remember.
Oh, all right. Well, if that person is here, is that maybe could let us know? Well, I'm glad now that we just have everybody together. This is complete now, and we don't have to in any way worry about anything else happening. And no, that would almost be too much for you. And I just don't think it would not be appropriate to have something like that happen, because you don't necessarily. No, I don't think that would be right. We're getting the band back together. You know, are these celebrations, do they become an opportunity for you guys to also keep in touch and just connect? And does the vast just turnout of this, does it still blow your minds, and does it feel like yesterday? Does it bring back everything? What's the thought?
Yes.
Yes.
No, really, it's shocking, because
you forget the passion that still exists. You know, you put it in perspective in your own life, and then they prove you wrong.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, if I sort of said to you yesterday, if we'd ever thought that this was going to be happening 30 years ago. No, it is. It's fun. I got proposed to yesterday, which was nice.
Let's. You know, this is, I have to say, for me, you know, as someone who discovered the films when they first came out and then rediscovered them through the eyes of my children, it is an absolute pleasure to have been here today and to see all you guys and have a chance to have a conversation with you. George, I can't thank you enough for being here. George Lucas, Mark Hamill, Jerry Fisher.
For an entire generation, people have experienced Star Wars Celebration merchandise the only way possible, by attending an actual Star Wars Celebration in person. But if you've only bought items from Star Wars Celebration this way before, everything you know is about to change. Now, for its 21st anniversary, the Star Wars Celebration store is going online for the first time ever, with never-before-seen designs, exclusive product lines, and items that are not available anywhere else. See your favorites in a way you've never seen them before. Luke Skywalker, frozen and stuffed inside of a tauntaun. BB-8 as an avocado. Chewbacca, C-3PO, Leia, and Han Solo as a windshield screen. The Mandalorian, IG-11, and Cara Dune as a collectible pin set. And so much more. Finally, you'll be able to purchase this limited edition merchandise from the comfort of your own home, as the entire Star Wars Celebration store opens online this Friday, August 28th, 2020, to all Star Wars Celebration 2020 ticket holders. Then, on Monday, August 31st, everyone who wants their chance to access the Star Wars Celebration store at home can do so, when all the merchandise will be available to anyone to purchase. Make memories that will last forever with the official Star Wars Celebration 2020 merchandise line, coming to your galaxy this Friday.
And that is not the only exclusive Star Wars Celebration merchandise available. There is going to be a whole lot more rolling out later in the year, so keep checking in with StarWars.com for more information.
Very cool stuff. I need a Minoc for all my windows.
Big same.
Shifting back to panels, Star Wars Rebels has had quite a few memorable moments from Celebration throughout its history.
From the return of Rex and Ahsoka to the reveal of Grand Admiral Thrawn, Rebels has been a staple of Star Wars Celebration both in person and on our very own live stream. But there's something that you have not ever seen unless you were in Germany in July 2013.
That's right, way before the show aired and before Star Wars Show Live at Star Wars Celebration was even a thing, Dave Filoni and crew took to the stage to reveal the animated show they were working on.
Here now are some of the best moments from Rebels at Celebration, complete with the very first cosplay Macquarie troopers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge Star Wars Celebration welcome to Dave Filoni.
Everybody, good to see you. Everybody, how you doing? Good to see you.
So Rebels, where did the inspiration come from? Where was the idea? Was it your idea?
We have a great story team at Lucasfilm. We said, what would be a good new show? Well, we would like to see this. We'd like to see a show about Rebels. We'd like to see about what happened before A New Hope. We'd like to see, what is that story told in a greater detail. We all agreed on it. Visually, wanted to make this style different from Clone Wars. We wanted to give this its own look and its own feel. For me, that always goes back to Ralph McQuarrie. I think Star Wars owes so much to Ralph, and I looked at his paintings, and there are tons of paintings that Ralph did that have really never made it up onto screen. There's an entire cityscape. I believe this was a concept for Alderaan, but you can see a lot of the same elements that wound up in Cloud City. I think this is a really early, perhaps Coruscant painting, but these giant towers, it's just Ralph had such a mind for the future and a very specific vision of the future and what made that future work. That's going to be our look. We created a set of digital brushes that replicate Ralph's painting style. Tiny little details that will be on every single surface and every single models. And the overseas studios doing the animation have these same brushes that the design team works on. And that guides everything we're doing. Here's our Star Destroyer. Those of you that really know a lot of details, oh, look at the love for the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
In A New Hope, the towers, the conning towers on the Star Destroyers had that big X shape on the top of them. And they're actually gone in Empire and Return of the Jedi. So we've put that back on these since they preceded New Hope. It's tiny little details like that that the crew is always aware of because we want to give everybody, you know, a very connected piece of the Star Wars history. So here's our Stormtrooper.
We notice they get excited about anything bad, don't they?
They do. It's something I've noticed over the years. You know, the villains in Star Wars are very much loved. But when we rendered this Stormtrooper, it's I mean, the crew I work with is just like a bunch of fans like you guys, and we just sit and stare at this, and we realize that we've done a bunch of clones, but we never got to do a Stormtrooper. So this is a ship we call. Yeah, I like this one. This is a ship we call the Ghost.
The Ghost.
The
That's
Ghost.
Cool.
We wanted to give this new generation of kids a place that they could go someplace they felt safe when they're on the run from the Empire, because an exciting dynamic is we're on the run again.
I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Filoni!
You're watching
The Star Wars Show.
That was an awesome look back.
I know. Star Wars Celebration really is the basis of our best friendship.
And while we're bummed we had to postpone our plans to celebrate with the rest of you in person, we know that Star Wars Celebration will be back and better than ever when it returns in 2022.
Who knows what secrets will be revealed to us there? Maybe the child will be driving.
Maybe Teeth will get his own spin-off.
Maybe Kitster will finally land a high five. Anything can happen. It's Celebration.
And as always, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.